You've heard it said that life is about finding happiness, yet what if happiness isn't the point at all? What if pain is? You see, the universe has a strange way of showing us that our hurt, our struggle, is not an obstacle, but a part of the flow. There's no shame in it, no guilt in the ache of your soul. In fact, it's essential to your journey. The pain you feel, the loneliness, the doubt, it's been felt before. Not just by you, but by those around you and by those long gone. The universe, in its infinite wisdom, knows what you're going through, and the peculiar thing is, it's not indifferent to your suffering. It knows because suffering is part of the grand design. It's what gives life its depth, its texture. And though you may feel alone in your grief, I promise you, you are never truly isolated. There are always others who understand, who are silently, deeply with you. Life has a strange way of presenting itself to us, always in motion, always shifting, and often in ways that don't make immediate sense. We are conditioned to believe that happiness is the ultimate goal, that peace is the prize at the end of the road. But what if I told you that happiness is not the destination? What if the real purpose is not to avoid pain, but to embrace it? That is the paradox of life. We spend so much time running from discomfort, yet it is in discomfort that we grow. It is in the moments of pain, of uncertainty, that we come face to face with who we truly are. Pain, in its various forms, is not something that should be feared or resisted. It is a natural part of existence, something as inevitable as the rising and setting of the sun, and it carries within it the seeds of transformation. You might think of pain as something that needs to be fixed, something that should be eradicated as soon as it appears. Society often teaches us that to feel hurt is a sign of weakness, that we must push through or get over it. But this way of thinking doesn't serve us. We often overlook the fact that pain has a deeper purpose, a hidden wisdom beneath its surface. It is not merely something that happens to us, it is something that is woven into the fabric of our being. Without it, we wouldn't understand joy. Without the contrast of sorrow, we wouldn't know what it means to feel peace. The very essence of life is a dance of opposites, light and dark, love and loss, birth and death. It is in this dynamic interplay that we find the richness of our existence. To truly understand and appreciate life, we must begin to shift our perspective on pain. Rather than seeing it as an obstacle or an enemy to be defeated, we must learn to see it as a teacher, a guide, a force that is shaping us into who we are meant to be. The hurt you feel is not meaningless. It is an invitation to go deeper, to explore parts of yourself that you may have been avoiding. It is a call to listen, to pay attention, to stop and reflect. In those moments of anguish, you are being asked to look within and ask yourself, what is this pain trying to show me? What do I need to learn from this experience? We live in a culture that often encourages us to suppress our emotions, to put on a mask and pretend that everything is okay. We avoid vulnerability at all costs, fearing that if we express our true feelings, we will be judged or misunderstood. But by doing so, we miss out on the profound lessons that come with embracing our inner struggles. Pain, in its rawest form, is the most honest aspect of our existence. It strips away the facades we create and exposes us to ourselves, revealing the parts of us that need healing, the parts that need love and care. In embracing our pain, we learn to be more authentic, more connected to our true selves. Furthermore, the experience of pain is not something unique to us as individuals. It is shared by all beings across time and space. No one is exempt from the suffering that life brings, and no one is beyond the reach of its transformative power. When you are hurting, know that you are not alone. You are part of a collective human experience, a vast web of connections that stretches back through history and forward into the future. The pain you feel is not a sign of your weakness, but a sign of your humanity. In a strange way, your suffering connects you to others, to those who have walked similar paths, to those who will walk them after you. In this shared experience, there is a deep sense of unity, a recognition that we are all, in our own ways, struggling to make sense of this complex and unpredictable world. When we embrace pain rather than shy away from it, we begin to understand that it is not a force to be defeated, but a force to be understood. It is a natural part of the flow of life, a vital energy that moves through us, shaping our consciousness and expanding our awareness. We learn that it is okay to feel discomfort, that we are not defined by it, but rather shaped by how we respond to it. It is through our pain that we cultivate empathy, compassion, and resilience. It is through our wounds that we learn to heal not just ourselves, but others as well. For when we allow ourselves to feel the fullness of our own suffering, we become more attuned to the suffering of others, and in that shared understanding we find our common humanity. In the end, the paradox of life is that pain is not something to avoid, but something to embrace. It is in pain that we find our strength, our wisdom, and our true selves. By accepting the ebb and flow of life, by recognizing that pain is just as much a part of the journey as joy, we unlock the deeper mysteries of existence. Pain is not a failure, it is an opportunity. It is a doorway to deeper understanding, to greater growth, and to the realization that we are not alone in our struggles. Through it, we learn the profound lesson that we are all, in the end, connected by the simple fact that we are human. The universe, in all its vastness, is constantly moving, shifting, and evolving. We are but small participants in this grand, intricate dance, and yet within the vastness there is a connection between all things, a thread that binds us together, even in the moments we feel the most isolated. This connection, this awareness of our existence within the greater whole, is something the universe itself understands intimately. It doesn't just know about us, it knows us deeply, it feels us. This is a truth we often overlook when we are consumed by our own pain, when we feel lost in our struggles. The truth is that everything that happens to us, the joy, the sorrow, the growth, the decay, fits into the larger pattern of life. Our pain is never unnoticed, it is part of the rhythm of the universe, an essential element in the cosmic flow. The universe, as vast and mysterious as it is, does not overlook the hurt of a single soul. It is intimately aware of the suffering that takes place in each of us, and in ways we may not fully understand, it holds space for it. Imagine for a moment the universe as a great, living being, vast beyond comprehension, yet deeply attuned to every heartbeat, every breath, every tear that falls. It is not distant or detached from us, rather, it is woven into the very fabric of our being. The universe does not simply observe from afar, it is a part of us. It feels the rise and fall of our emotions, the tension in our bodies, the weight in our hearts. And even when we feel that no one else sees or understands our pain, the universe does. It is present in the smallest details of our lives, in the spaces between our thoughts, in the quiet moments when we think we are alone. This connection is not something we can always see or touch, but it is there, silently holding us through our darkest times. When we are in the depths of our struggles, it often feels as if we are disconnected from the world around us. We can become trapped in our minds, overwhelmed by our emotions, believing that our pain is a unique burden that no one else could possibly understand. But the truth is, this sense of isolation is an illusion. The universe knows your pain because it has always known the pain of those who have come before you, and it will continue to know the pain of those who will come after you. The human experience is cyclical, a constant flow of birth, life, death, and rebirth. We are all part of this eternal movement, and our suffering is not something separate from the grand design. It is a reflection of the universe's own rhythm, a temporary disturbance in the otherwise harmonious flow of existence. And just as the universe knows our pain, it also knows the healing that comes after it. We may not always recognize it in the moment, but pain is never pointless. It serves a purpose, just as every shift in the tides has a purpose. Our suffering is a part of the universal process, a phase in the unfolding of our lives. Every hardship we face, every challenge we endure, is woven into the fabric of our existence with meaning. It is the universe's way of guiding us, nudging us toward deeper understanding, teaching us things we could never learn in the absence of difficulty. Without the contrast of pain, we would never know joy. Without loss, we would never appreciate the beauty of love. Without the dark, we would not see the light. Pain sharpens us, molds us, and connects us to a greater truth about the nature of existence. The awareness the universe has of our suffering is not one of judgment or criticism. It is an awareness of compassion and care. It doesn't look upon our struggles with disdain or pity. Instead, it holds us with infinite patience, waiting for us to recognize that we are not alone in our suffering. It understands that every tear, every moment of pain is part of our journey, a necessary part of the process of becoming who we are meant to be. We often think of the universe as something distant, unknowable, or indifferent to our individual lives. But in reality, it is deeply aware of us. It understands our pain because it is part of the same process that creates and destroys, that builds and breaks down. Just as we experience seasons of growth and decay in our own lives, so too does the universe experience its own cycles. In this way, the universe teaches us that our pain is not a burden but a shared experience, one that links us to the whole of existence. Every individual suffering is part of the collective consciousness of humanity. And when we suffer, the universe suffers with us. It is in this recognition that we can begin to find peace, knowing that our struggles are not isolated, that our pain is not meaningless. The universe knows our hurt, and it holds us gently, guiding us through the dark, knowing that the light will come once again. This awareness is what connects us all, and it is through this recognition that we can begin to heal, not just ourselves, but the world around us. In the grand cosmic scheme of things, our pain is never wasted. It is simply part of the flow, a step on the path toward greater wisdom, deeper understanding, and ultimate transformation. There is a unique and profound truth in the experience of human suffering, one that often goes unnoticed until we stop and really look. When we are hurting, when life seems overwhelming, and we feel the weight of our struggles, it's easy to slip into the belief that we are completely alone, that no one could possibly understand what we're going through. We often feel isolated in our pain, as though our suffering is something personal, something that sets us apart from others. Yet the truth is that our pain is not something that distances us from the world. It is something that connects us to the vast web of existence and to the hearts of others who are, in their own way, experiencing the same human condition. There is a subtle but powerful power in shared understanding, in knowing that others, whether they are near or far, living or past, are feeling what we feel. This recognition of shared pain forms a deep bond, one that transcends time and space. We are often taught to focus on our individuality, to see ourselves as separate from the world around us. This perception of separation leads to feelings of isolation, to the belief that we must navigate our struggles alone. But if we truly open our hearts and minds, we begin to see that this sense of isolation is a misunderstanding. We are not alone. In fact, our pain is a universal experience, something that is woven into the fabric of humanity itself. Whether we are grieving a loss, battling illness, struggling with our own self-worth, or facing an uncertain future, there are countless others who are walking similar paths. Even if their experiences differ from ours in form, the emotional undercurrent is the same. We all feel fear, we all feel loss, we all experience doubt and confusion. We all face moments where the weight of the world seems unbearable. When we begin to recognize that our pain is not isolated, we start to see the possibility of connection. There is a kind of silent, unspoken understanding between people who have experienced hardship. It's as though the very act of suffering creates a bond that doesn't need words. This is why, when we share our struggles with others, when we reach out for support, we often feel a deep sense of relief. Just the simple act of expressing our pain to another human being can release some of the tension and sorrow we carry. The other person doesn't need to fix our problems or offer solutions. Their presence alone, their understanding and their empathy can be a source of great comfort. It's the recognition that we are not alone in our suffering, that someone else truly sees us and feels what we feel. But this connection goes beyond simply sharing our struggles with those around us. It extends to a deeper level of empathy and compassion. When we experience pain, we have the opportunity to develop a greater understanding of the pain of others. Our own suffering opens the door to compassion, allowing us to feel for others in ways we might not have been able to before. It is through our wounds that we learn to heal not just ourselves, but others as well. As we face our own challenges, we become more attuned to the struggles of those around us. We learn to listen with empathy, to offer a hand when needed, to offer comfort and understanding. In this way, our pain becomes a tool for deepening our connection with others, creating a ripple effect that extends far beyond ourselves. Furthermore, this shared experience of pain transcends boundaries. It is not limited by culture, language, or geography. Human suffering in all its forms is universal. Across the world, people are experiencing the same emotions, the same challenges, the same fears and hopes. And though we may not speak the same language or come from the same background, there is a profound understanding that connects us all. In times of crisis, we often see this connection manifest in the form of collective support. Communities come together to help those in need, offering compassion, kindness, and assistance. It is a reminder that despite our apparent differences, we are all part of the same human family, bound together by the common thread of experience. This recognition of shared pain has the power to transform not only our relationships with others, but also our relationship with ourselves. When we begin to see that our suffering is not a sign of weakness, but a shared part of the human experience, we stop viewing ourselves as broken. Or less than, we begin to see our pain as a bridge to connection rather than a barrier. Our struggles become a source of strength, as they remind us that we are human, that we are alive, that we are capable of feeling deeply and authentically. In this way, pain, rather than diminishing us, elevates us. It becomes a source of wisdom, allowing us to connect more deeply with others and with ourselves. Through our pain, we are reminded of the fundamental truth that we are all part of something larger, something greater than ourselves. Our individual suffering, though deeply personal, is never truly solitary. We are always part of the collective human experience, and through that experience we are bound together in ways that we may not always be able to see. Yet this connection is there underneath the surface, quietly holding us all. And in knowing that we are not alone in our suffering, we find strength, hope, and healing, not just for ourselves, but for the world around us. It is in this shared understanding, this collective empathy, that we find the power to transcend our pain and to find meaning in the most difficult moments of our lives. Pain, in its raw and unfiltered form, is one of the most paradoxical aspects of life. We spend much of our lives trying to avoid it, seeking comfort, safety, and peace. But in doing so, we often overlook the profound role pain plays in shaping us. It's easy to think of pain as an enemy, something to be eradicated, something that serves no purpose other than to hurt us. Yet the reality is far more intricate. Pain is not merely a force to be avoided. It is a force that carries with it the potential for immense growth, clarity, and transformation. To truly understand pain is to embrace its paradox. While it is uncomfortable, challenging, and often unbearable, it is also the very thing that makes us whole. When we experience pain, it's easy to focus solely on the discomfort and the desire for it to end. But if we take a step back and look at the bigger picture, we begin to see that pain in many ways as a catalyst for change. It's through pain that we often come to the most profound realizations about ourselves and the world around us. It forces us to confront the things we've been avoiding, to face the uncomfortable truths about our lives, our relationships, and our deepest fears. In this way, pain is a mirror that reflects our true selves, showing us who we really are beneath the surface. Pain is also an incredible teacher. It teaches us about our limits, about what we are capable of enduring, and about the resilience that lies within us. Often it is in the darkest moments, when everything feels broken, that we discover our inner strength. We don't always realize it in the moment, but the experience of pain is molding us, shaping us into more compassionate, more grounded, and more empathetic individuals. We learn to approach life with a deeper understanding of its fragility, and we develop a greater appreciation for the moments of peace and joy that come after the storm. Without pain, we would not have the capacity to truly understand and appreciate the beauty of life. There is also a powerful paradox in how pain connects us to others. When we are hurting, we often feel as though we are alone, as though no one else could possibly understand the depth of our suffering. But the truth is that pain is one of the most universal human experiences. Everyone at some point faces their own struggles, whether they be physical, emotional, or spiritual. And it is through our shared pain that we connect with others on a deeper level. Pain allows us to empathize, to truly understand what someone else is going through, because we too have felt the weight of suffering. It is in our vulnerability and our openness to share our pain that we form authentic bonds with others. However, this doesn't mean that we should seek out pain for the sake of growth. That would be a misunderstanding of the process. Pain is not something we should chase, nor is it something to be glorified. It is simply a part of the ebb and flow of life. It arises naturally, without invitation, and often at the most unexpected times. And though we may wish to avoid it, the truth is that it's an inescapable part of our journey. Rather than resisting it, we must learn to coexist with it. In learning to be with our pain, we begin to see it not as something to be feared, but as something that is part of the greater whole of existence. The healing process, then, is not one of eradicating pain, but of learning to move through it, of allowing it to transform us. We don't heal by avoiding the difficult feelings or pretending they don't exist. We heal by facing them head-on, by sitting with them, and by allowing them to teach us what they need to. It is only through this acceptance that we can release the grip that pain has on us. Pain, when we allow it to do its work, becomes a guide leading us through the darkness and into the light. It's in the surrender to pain that we find our way to healing, not by fighting it, but by embracing it, learning from it, and ultimately transforming through it. Moreover, it is important to understand that healing is not a linear process. There is no neat, tidy path to recovery. Healing comes in waves, sometimes gentle and sometimes overwhelming. We may find ourselves taking 2 steps forward, only to feel as though we've taken 1 step back. This is not a failure, it is part of the journey. Pain is not something that happens in a moment and then disappears. It lingers, it evolves, and it asks for our patience. It's in these moments of struggle that we learn the most about who we are and who we can become. There is no perfect timeline for healing, no right way to process pain. Every person's journey is unique, and every path to healing is different. In the end, pain is not a force to be feared. It is a force to be respected. It is the very thing that pushes us toward growth, toward greater understanding, and toward a deeper connection with ourselves and the world around us. It is through pain that we are refined, that we learn to see the world with more clarity and compassion. Pain teaches us that we are not invincible, but it also teaches us that we are incredibly resilient. We are not defined by our pain, but by how we move through it, how we allow it to shape us, and how we rise from it. The paradox of pain is that, though it can break us, it also has the power to make us whole. Through our suffering, we find the strength to heal, to grow, and to embrace the fullness of life. When we begin to accept the reality that pain is not something to escape, but something to integrate, we begin to unlock a profound wisdom that transcends the individual experience. In our culture, we are often taught to run from pain, to view it as an anomaly, something that disrupts our lives and needs to be eliminated. However, when we view pain from a broader perspective, we begin to see that it is not merely an obstacle to be overcome. It is a companion on our journey, a messenger that carries valuable insight about ourselves, the world, and the universe we inhabit. The key to this transformation lies in understanding that pain, in its various forms, is not an isolated experience, but part of a greater interconnected whole. As human beings, we tend to resist what causes discomfort, and this resistance often intensifies our suffering. We push against our pain, trying to avoid or suppress it, thinking that if we ignore it long enough it will somehow go away. But pain, like all things in life, is not something that can be wished away. It is part of the ebb and flow of existence, a natural cycle that mirrors the rhythms of nature itself. Just as the seasons change and night gives way to day, our emotional and physical states are in constant motion. Pain is as much a part of this cycle as joy, love, and peace. In order to truly heal, we must learn not to fear pain, but to approach it with acceptance and understanding. This doesn't mean we should seek out pain, nor does it mean that we should embrace suffering for suffering's sake. Rather, it means that we must learn to be present with our pain when it arises. Instead of pushing it away or denying it, we must allow it to be a part of our experience. Pain is like a wave that rises and falls. If we fight against it, we may find ourselves drowning, caught in the struggle. But if we surrender to it, if we allow it to wash over us without resistance, we can begin to understand its purpose and its lesson. In the stillness that comes with acceptance, we find clarity, and in that clarity we begin to see the transformative power of pain. The paradox here is that pain, in all its forms, has the ability to help us reconnect to what truly matters. When we are consumed by pain, whether it be emotional, physical, or spiritual, we are often forced to stop. The things that once seemed so important, the superficial distractions, the material pursuits, lose their significance. Pain has a way of stripping away the layers of illusion we build around ourselves, revealing what lies beneath our deepest desires, our true nature, and the fundamental truth of existence. Through pain, we are reminded of our vulnerability, our impermanence, and our interconnectedness with all that is. In this way, pain becomes a teacher, not by providing us with answers, but by helping us ask the right questions. One of the most important lessons pain offers is the recognition that we are never truly alone in our struggles. When we are in the throes of our own suffering, it often feels as though no one else could possibly understand. We think that our pain is unique, that it isolates us from the rest of the world. But the reality is that pain is one of the most universal human experiences. Everyone, at some point, experiences suffering. No matter our race, gender, age, or background, we all encounter hardship in some form. And it is through our shared suffering that we find our common humanity. Our pain connects us to one another in ways that words and actions cannot. It is through our wounds that we learn to be compassionate, to empathize, and to offer our support to others. Moreover, this shared experience of pain can teach us to move beyond the narrow confines of our individual lives and connect with the larger flow of existence. Pain, by its nature, is humbling. It reminds us that we are part of something much greater than ourselves. Just as the universe moves through cycles of creation and destruction, so too do our lives. We are born, we grow, we experience joy, we experience sorrow, and eventually we return to the source. Pain, when we accept it as part of the natural order, becomes a bridge that connects us to this larger flow. It is not something to be feared, but something to be embraced as part of the ever-changing landscape of life. It is through our pain that we learn the greatest truths of existence, that we are not invincible, but we are resilient, that we are not separate from the world, but deeply interconnected with it, and that life is not about avoiding discomfort, but about learning how to navigate it with grace and understanding. In this sense, pain becomes not a sign of weakness, but a source of strength. It teaches us the value of patience, of resilience, and of vulnerability. It invites us to be fully present in the moment, to face our fears, and to embrace the fullness of our experience. Through our pain, we come to understand that healing is not an end, but a process. It is not something that happens once and for all, but something that we must engage with over and over again. Healing is an unfolding, a gradual return to wholeness, and it is through the acceptance of pain that we are able to move through this process with grace. We learn that we do not need to be fixed, that we do not need to be perfect. We are simply human, and it is in our imperfection, our vulnerability, and our willingness to face our pain that we discover our true power. When we learn to see pain as a part of the natural flow of life, as a force that connects us to the world around us and to others, we can begin to release the need to control it. We can stop fighting against it, stop seeing it as a threat, and start seeing it as an opportunity for growth. Pain is not something to be feared. It is a doorway to a deeper understanding of ourselves, of others, and of the universe we inhabit. Through pain, we learn that we are not alone, that we are part of something much greater, and that our suffering is not in vain. It is part of the dance of life, and through it we are given the chance to heal, to grow, and to become more fully ourselves.